Okay, so it is January the 22nd, 2023. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time here in central Indiana. And I've been putting in a little bit of time at the desk this morning, communicating with my customers on a potential snowstorm that we have coming in a couple of days. And before I get further, please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. If you know someone that could benefit that you think from this video, please share it with them. Maybe even post it if you're on social media. You can post it on your own page. That's up to you. That said, I want to talk today about the fact that I have moved from plowing services for snow removal over to snow blowing. And before I get any further in all this, I want to say, number one, understand that we're in central Indiana. We just don't get the type of snows and the snowfalls that we used to get 20 years ago. We just don't get them. I mean, it's January the 22nd. I've had one workable snowstorm that was back around, I think, the 19th of December or something. And then we got into this warm, ridiculous period, and it's just now starting to get cold enough. Even with this snowstorm that's potentially coming, they're talking about it being a very wet and heavy snow. And if that's the case, there's a good probability with where the temperatures are looking to be that a lot of it may end up melting. So it's not what it used to be. I mean, typically I got about 3 snowstorms each winter to work. But even that aside, I have switched over to snow blowing, and here's why. My service for me focuses on residential clients. Let me repeat that. In the past, or before I repeat that, in the past I've done commercial work. It's just not where I want to go. There are several reasons why. I don't want to get into that right now, but the main thing I want to take from this, or to let you know, is that we are primarily, or in fact we're completely residential. Now, with that being said, the reason that I've switched over from plowing, I'll give you an example. Let's say that before now, I did snow blowing, and let's say I had a good contract that just paid me, I don't know, $150 an hour. For every hour that I would work in a truck, I would make $150 for each truck I had working. But the truck would have to work for an entire hour to make that money. So that's the entire time that it's running. It's burning gas, you're shifting gears, stress on the transmission, possibly driving into something. And depending on what type of a venue, you're plowing, you could always have the risk of driving, over somebody or running into something and causing a big liability issue for yourself, possibly killing someone or damaging your truck. Now, you can have an accident no matter what, whether you plow or not, if you're driving from A to B. The reality is, even if you're a great driver and you're, very experienced at driving on snow, the reality is other people might not have near the experience that you have. And that's what, for me, I'm always a defensive driver, especially in the snow. So, you'd have to work an entire hour for $150. Whereas right now where I'm at, we have a 2-inch trigger. And so I go out with snow blowers, and the typical home that I clear has a 2-car driveway that's 30, maybe 40 feet long. I clear that driveway, a pathway to the front door, and any front sidewalk that it might have. And typically it takes me 15 to 20 minutes, and I make a flat $135. Don't have to worry about tearing up any of my trucks. Don't have to worry about, backing up into somebody. Again, that can always happen in the normal scope of things, but the probability is significantly reduced considering that we're not spending a majority of the time in the truck. Now, the trade-off is you're exposed to the elements. You got to get out, okay? And maybe in some snowstorms, it might not be ideal for real heavy, heavy, heavy snow, but we just don't get those types of snows. I mean, we had, I think last year, a snowfall sometime around the 16th of February that had, in some places, 6 to 9 inches. The year before was about the same, but aside of that, the most heavy snow that we have, I want to say, was February 4th, 2014, where we got 11.6 inches of snow. And that's just rare. We just don't get snow like that. So for me, my business model right now is we're going in, we're doing residential accounts that also have the probability and the potential of turning into landscaping customers, lawn application customers, grass cutting customers, fall core plug aeration customers, storm cleanup customers. I mean, you go on and on and on. The other thing I like about residential too is the AR is always significantly lower. Most businesses want to run a 30, 60, 90, and if you know anything about collections, the further that you get out from the date of service, the least likely you are to be paid for the service that you provided. So in most cases with the snow removal, I've got a credit card on file that I've got a payment from a customer. My agreements are set up and the customers know that I expect to be paid right away after the snow work is done. They'll get invoiced within 24 hours. And then, they have the option to pay us with Zelle. They can pay us with a check in the mail, or they can even pay with a credit card. We're set up that we could receive some other payments, but I don't want to get involved in too many payment forums or services. It's just a nightmare for taxes at the end of the year. And some of it I just don't want to be involved in. I just don't. So those are the three major forms of payment that I take. And again, what we're doing with the snow removal service, clearing the driveway, pathway to the front door, and the front sidewalks, I'm paid almost right away when the work is done. I don't have to worry about working a secondary part-time job to get paid for the work that I already did. And what's funny in those situations is the customers that don't pay you always remember you when you've got a snowstorm that's coming up. So this model for now, and I don't know that it'll be permanent. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, is just doing residential properties and we're snow blowing them. Could I add some different types of equipment in the future? I could, but so far the single stage snow blowers have been absolutely fine. You go out and you buy yourself a $600, a $900 single stage Toro snow blower, and man, you're set to go. And then considering also 98% of the year it sits and does absolutely nothing. Whereas a plow, the same way, would sit and take up more space. So that's what's going to work for me, and that's what I'm going to do. And another thing to consider too is all season when you're doing your mowing, all your other services, every single customer is a potential for a snow removal customer. You can give them an estimate and send it out. And remember, you don't just set up snow removal in the winter. In fact, ideally, by the time winter comes, you have a full book of business for that season. So each year when my snow removal season comes to an end, I send out a renewal option to all those customers that are currently on the list. And then once I build up whatever customer list from that list that goes on into the next year, I then start filling the spots by advertising to all my other customers from basically, April 1st or whatever, all the way through until the next coming winter. So everybody gets an estimate. They have it, and then I don't have to work as hard later in the season, and I have an idea of what I'm going to do, what my workload is, what kind of help I need, what kind of timeline is involved too. Because if you do your math right and you set up your maps, you could really set it up in such a way that you minimize your driving significantly, saving you time and increasing the availability that you have to service customers. I'll give you another example. Back on last February of 2022, I think it was around the 16th of February, I might have received close to 200 phone calls that day alone from people scrambling to find snow removal service. So the demand is out there. And to be quite honest with you, it was so frustrating because at times it would interfere with the GPS. I had to set up a different GPS in the trucks that we were using. We just come through. And the other thing too is a lot of people, we live in a time where people have no patience. Because of Amazon Prime and other services, they want what they want now. Okay, whatever it is, regardless of the reason, no excuses. So there are times that there's no way possible that we can get to the phone right away. And someone will go online and write a negative review. I called, nobody answered. Well, I'm sorry that we didn't answer. You didn't leave a voicemail, so it didn't matter. And with all due respect, you waited to the last second to find someone to get snow. That's not my problem. As a matter of fact, if you want to, you can email me at idon'tcare@me.com and complain about it. I can only do so much. And in most cases, we're helping a lot of older customers. That's not always a situation, but we have customers that we're trying to clear out, our regular customers that might have, they might be on meds, they might need special, treatment and have caretakers coming in and out. So getting them cleared out is always my priority. Anyway, I hope that you like this video, that it gives you something to think about and it's somehow beneficial to you and your business. Remember, you get to run your business the way you want to run it. Plain and simple. But this is what's going to work for me for now. I'm excited about it in many ways. And in some ways, I think we have the potential to make even more money. In other ways, we don't. But it just depends on ultimately what conditions we get for the winter storms. Anyway, remember, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, please. Like the video, maybe tell somebody about it. Seriously, it takes like a second to do all that kind of stuff. Peace.